Good day, YouTube. Today I'm going to talk about something. I created my channel about almost 2 years ago, and as you know, it's called Your Military Money. At the beginning, it didn't have a lot of views. Understandably, most people don't go on YouTube to listen to someone talk about finances, especially somebody that's not known, like myself. And I started talking about military items, reserves, active duty, Air Force, and I started to get a lot of subscribers, which I thank anybody who's watched a video of mine, whether they subscribed or not. And I'm going to continue to do that, talk about military things that I get to see, share my journey. But I do want to talk about something that I've been thinking about. I'll call it financial stories. And I'll begin. I'm going to share with you my financial story when I first started. The reason is to give hope to people who may be in a similar situation, or if you've never had any type of debt, negative financial stories, learn from me. I hope you can, or I hope at least somebody does, and that's going to benefit. So at the age of 23, I was in Los Angeles working. I had gotten kicked out of a university because of my grade point average. So I knew I needed to do something, and the Air Force always was in my mind to do it. At 20, I almost enlisted, but I never did it. So I did it at the age of 23, but I didn't go to basic training until I was 24. In April of 1996, I got married 1 month before I left for basic training, and went to basic training, Fire Academy in Texas, got to my first base, and that's when life slapped me, because I realized I had made some financial mistakes when I was single and younger. And because of that, it put me in a tough situation financially. I was embarrassed because I had a family and all I could provide was an apartment, a 2-bedroom apartment with no furniture. All we had were 6 pieces of luggage. I applied for a car loan. My peers at my first base got approved. The bank told me to come back in a year. Embarrassed. But you want me to tell you something? That was the best thing that could have happened to me. I'm going to call that a significant emotional event. That was obviously negative, but I didn't want to go back to that situation, so I made changes. I was at a crossroads. What am I going to do? Continue to do craziness with finances, negative stuff, or do something different? And that's what I did. At the age of 24, I had, in 1996, when I joined the Air Force, a lot of debt. What does that mean? For me, it was $1,000. To me, that was a lot of debt back then. How was I going to pay this? Because when I get paid on the 1st, I'm broke by the 3rd after I pay rent. When I get paid on the 15th, I am broke by the 18th or the 19th, because I have debts, 3 or 4 accounts that I had prior to joining the service. So what I did is I just put everything on a piece of paper, and I listed the debts from smallest to biggest, and I paid off the one that was the smallest. Then I had 3 accounts, then 2. I did this in 1996 before I even knew who Dave Ramsey was, and it worked for me. If you're in a similar situation, you have to look at your picture, financial picture. Where do you want to go? What is it going to take for you to get there, and how are you going to make that happen? It takes time, it takes consistency, but if I could do it, I think anybody in a similar situation can do it as well. Got all the debt reduced to 0, eliminated, closed those accounts. My credit wasn't that great, because remember, if I applied for a car loan and they told me to come back in a year, I can tell you my credit score was bad. Eventually, over time, that goes away. Had an emergency fund. One of my mentors, who was my supervisor and friend, was a senior airman, E4, and he lived off 1 income with his wife and 2 children. I don't know their personal accounts balances or never anything like that, but I can tell you they lived comfortably off 1 income. And that was my goal, and that's what we did as I got promoted through the Air Force. Where are you? I started in a negative situation, not knowing that almost 10 years later after active duty, I was going to have to go through a reduction in force, meaning the Air Force had too many people, so I had to leave active duty whether I wanted to or not, whether I was financially ready or not. The good news is 10 years later, I had made some changes, and it takes a lot of communication, especially if you're married. If you're single, I think it's going to be easier. If you're married, I'm not saying it's going to be tougher, but you and your spouse, your husband and wife, have to be on the same page. If you are, great. If you're not, it's going to be challenging. Do you know that one of the biggest stressors in a relationship is finances? And I'm not saying you're going to agree with everything with your spouse, because that's not the case. That's realistic. Find out where you are, make some changes. My goal is to continue to share stories with you. They're not always going to be my personal stories, because I've seen a lot of great things financially from others and a lot of negative things. So occasionally I'm going to make a video, financial stories with whatever topic that is. Be proactive, make adjustment. Finances will always be an important part of your life, period. Doesn't matter if you're young, old, in the military, civilian. Make it happen. Take care. I have a surprise for you. If you started watching my channel when I first started, my friend Larry from Philly was my camera guy. He went wherever I went and was nice enough to film and get my channel started. He's actually based out of Charleston, South Carolina. He had to move with his job. He started off as an intern, and now he's getting promoted. He's been promoted twice in 2 years, and we'll get promoted again. He's done a lot of good things. But here he is.
What's going on, YouTube? How's everybody doing? First, giving a shout out to my man Hugo. He really helped me a lot when I was here. Y'all all met me back in the airplane. Larry from Philly. He included me in his video. I was actually the film guy. You know, you never see the film guy, but he included me in some of his videos. But I want to real quick just share with you a quick testimonial. Like you said, I started out as an intern at GS5, and in 2 years I'm a GS9 now, and in another year I'll be at GS11. But in my journey, dealing with finances and dealing with other areas of Airman and Family, I've learned to love the financial portion. One, because it helped me in my own personal life. In my marriage, it's really enhanced my marriage. Finances is a big part of relationships these days, and it's also a bearing. The number one cause of divorces these days is finances. And not infidelity, and not the fact you just don't like the person anymore, is money. And if you can grow in your areas of money, then that will help in a lot of areas of your life. And so finances was a big part. Shout out to Barbara Lang, the PFM down in Charleston. But I was standing in the lobby of our Airman and Family Readiness Center, and I was in the financial part of my training, and it hit me about the impact in what we do at the Airman and Family. But it really hit me close to home about the impact of what we do when it comes to finances. I thought about a couple that came in, and they were going through, and they probably were on the brink of divorce. They were arguing about money, and money was a big issue, and they had a little son that was crawling on the floor. And I thought to myself, we have the opportunity as financial counselors or financial people who can help people grow in their finances. We can keep people from getting divorces. We have the opportunity to touch people in a way that you could not imagine. What if this was their last straw? What if they came into the office and we helped them with their finances, and they stayed together? Now this kid doesn't have to grow up in a single parent household because the couple couldn't make it because of finances. And I just actually witnessed it. I'm sitting there thinking, like, we could have just saved this marriage. And at that moment, the mantle of or the responsibility of what we do, it really, really hit me. Not just in finances, but in other areas as well. Employment, work life, just personal work life. But finances are a big part of our lives today, of our existence. And so I just wanted to share that, because this little boy that was crawling on the floor could be the next president, okay? And something as simple as getting a spending plan can save a marriage and keep this little boy in a two-parent household. And it might not seem as elaborate at the time, but if you really think about it, things that we do have long-lasting consequences. And if we can help people now in their finances, or we can help people develop in their finances, we might be able to help save a life. So it was good to see y'all. I haven't seen you in a while. Love y'all. Peace.